Welcome into the 14A Sports Radio Show. Feels good to have the roles back to normal nowadays, you know?
I don't know. It was nice though, switching it up.
Oh, what are you trying to say, man?
Yeah, you know.
You're not rich.
I got to come in with the solid one-liners this week.
That's true.
You got to bring it.
I don't know. There's a lot of pressure here.
A lot of pressure
for me.
I'll tell you what. I think it did a hell of a job bringing the show in and out last week.
Did. As I said, on the way back, from the tournament, you guys did very well. Couldn't ask for anything more. I'm actually going to miss another show.
Yes.
Yes.
It's going to get weird
October
again.
October 9th, I got an engagement dinner. Who does an engagement
Wednesday.
dinner? Yeah. Stephanie in Hampton.
Do they want the one-day recovery?
Apparently.
And then they get married on a Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Why don't they do Thursday, Friday?
I don't want to be hungover at my wedding either.
I do.
Why don't we do a live broadcast?
Oh, yeah, we should, right? Walsh, you're about to take a picture. Shut up! I got my picks going on. Oh, boy. So, yeah, speaking of our picks, just another week of chaos and madness. I was saying, this whole week, the headline for the week should have just been, you think you know, but you don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I thought I was lucky to get out 2-2 the picks this week, but talk about the Giants. 0-2 going down to Carolina. You think they're going to come back with a vengeance? All pumped up, playing for Coughlin's brother. A little extra motivation.
Oh, boy.
And here they go, man. 38-0, and that game.
It wasn't even that close.
It really wasn't. I mean, they just got absolutely destroyed on both sides of the ball. Couldn't move the ball at all offensively. The one time that they, David Wilson breaks one, they scored a touchdown.
Does the backflip.
Our boy Will Beatty, who was he's just stealing money these days. he gets called for a holding, and that was as close as we came. Just an absolutely terrible. That's the theme of the show today. Terrible.
Yeah, if you saw that beautiful Instagram video, we're going to try to do that a lot. Something else we're going to try to do a lot coming up here. Our boy Rum here, who has the show every Monday night, The Final Bar. Great show. It's like a sports center for battle rapping.
Oh, I like it.
They got good stuff. He's pressuring me to do a little word on there. So
He
won. He won.
You got the underground scoop on the local up and coming.
Every battle rap that goes on, they're essentially like the Scott Van Pelt and Linda
like
Cohn of it.
It's like if
Except
ESPN,
there are no Linda.
If BET had a separate rap station for this.
I just called a bunch of black guys Linda Cohn.
I would
they're
compare.
gonna love that.
I would
They're gonna
compare
love
him
that.
to Linda Cohn is a Jewish woman from Queens. I wouldn't compare that to Rum.
If you saw the Ravens game this week, you'd have noticed. No, but definitely a great show. Make sure you check them out. But Rum had the idea that we should do something called prediction. He said prediction pong, but I didn't like that. Prediction chug. Now, every pick that we have wrong, we're going to chug a beer.
Oh, man.
Except for Rich, because he's not a drinker. But
we're going to have to cane him. Like in Thailand.
Separate punishment.
Bend over.
Bend over, get your caning in, boy. I can't wait. That's going to be fun.
How'd you do with your picks this week, Walsh?
I went 1-2-1. That damn Chargers, they didn't do much to do it. Like Tennessee ended up coming back in that game, but Tennessee kind of shot themselves a couple times in the foot. Justin Hunter, who the Titans just drafted this year, his first NFL catch, from Tennessee, his first NFL catch is that game-winning touchdown, and he got away with a push-off. But that's neither here nor there.
I like during the picks, Nipsey got all creative,
busted
out the teaser. Bam! We're all like, oh man, that's awesome.
And it was there for the taking. Except, like I said last week, there's always one team that has to go and mess it up.
Yeah, that's it, man.
And it's the goddamn San Francisco 49ers.
That was probably, take away the Giants, to me, that was the biggest upset of the week. In terms of how that game played out. Because, at least, just because the 49ers couldn't score. Kaepernick gets twice in a row now, dud games.
Well, I thought the Vernon Davis being out thing was a lot bigger than anybody played up. I didn't hear about him being out. I didn't see anything on the injury news on the pregame, and then all of a sudden, an hour before, he's out, and I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Well, they don't have the weapons now. Bolden's a possession receiver. He works the hashes, but he's the only one that could at least kind of separate. They don't have anybody else, and they're not running that zone read anymore. They run very few plays as a zone read. Harbaugh wants to keep his quarterback upright. If you saw some of the shots, like Tyrell Pryor, he took a shot. Russell Wilson was getting hit. So they're kind of moving away from that. And that 49er offense is not what we all thought it was going to be.
Nah, and you see that loss of Crabtree is so significant. You know, I mean, he's a guy that's getting 7 catches, 100 yards each game. 2 touchdowns in there, definitely opening it up. Vernon Davis really didn't have that great of a year last year. That's what I wanted to say earlier. Do you have Vernon Davis on any of your fantasy teams?
I do actually in one league.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, because I have Vernon Davis in one of mine, and I'm checking that every hour to see if he's in there. I had to roll with Kobe Fleener. Damn it.
We went out in the city, so I kind of did it all before I left, and I was
did you? Where'd you go in the city?
Where'd you go?
A little place called Bounce Sports Club on the Upper East Side.
Oh, yeah? How was that?
Good times.
That sounds like a lot of fun guys are
there. Do they fly a flag of multicolors? Not there's anything wrong with that.
No, this is Upper East Side, not the village.
Oh, okay.
But no, actually, the one thing that softened the Giants' loss was the amount of talent that was there. Actually,
oh, no kidding, yeah.
Particularly the wait staff, rocking some hot pants.
Nice.
I think those should come back.
I think, the yoga pants. Whoever invented that, man. What's the difference between hot pants and yoga pants? Enlighten me.
I think it's basically the same thing. Only hot pants might be a little tighter.
Then I'm all in.
Hey now. Maybe we need to do a show at Bounce.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not waving that flag. Again, not there's anything wrong with that. You can fly that flag.
Actually, this weekend, so you had a good time at Bounce. I actually went down. I went to the Rutgers game at Rutgers High Point Solutions. So the first SEC team to ever play at Rutgers. So Arkansas comes in. Rutgers went down to Arkansas last year and beat them in Arkansas. So they were looking for revenge. Rutgers twice has the ball inside the 15, gets no points in the first quarter, going to the half down 24-7. They really didn't get outplayed, but Arkansas made the few plays that were there. Rutgers couldn't get anything going offensively, and they come out at half. True freshman, who, if you saw the Fresno State game to open the season on that Thursday night, returned the kickoff. He takes a punt back, takes it to the house, makes it 24-14. The Arkansas starting quarterback gets hurt. They come in with the backup, and the Rutgers defense just took over.
Nice.
Arkansas cannot move the ball at all. And I've ranted about Gary Nova, the Rutgers quarterback, and how bad he was at the end of last season. He was dreadful. And he really stepped up. Had a huge fourth quarter, threw for over 200 yards and a couple touches in the fourth quarter, and they come back with a great 28-24 victory. One of the most fun games I've ever had down at Rutgers. It was unbelievable, rocking and rolling. And I said, I come off that, right? Awesome, great Rutgers win, and I'm expecting I go into Sunday all pumped up, ready for the Giants. The old Charles Dickens Tale of Two Cities right there, man. Absolutely terrible with that Giant game.
Well, everyone had a great time. I didn't. I went to the Army game on Saturday. Oh, my God. That was just brutal football. That was like Pop Warner football.
Was it Wake Forest?
Wake Forest.
Yeah, and it was just that.
Oh, my God. It was terrible.
Solid team, ACC.
It was like 2-0 until like 3 minutes in the second quarter.
Really?
But definitely a cool experience to be up in West Point. You get to see a lot of history and stuff like that.
Beautiful campus, right?
Yeah, definitely. I don't like all the hills that are there when you're on your way to the stadium. Had one hell of a tailgate on the bus on the way up there. But,
nice.
Big
crew or what?
Yeah, pretty big crew. Had about 60 people leaving out of NJCU. Had some raffles on the bus. We had a box for the game and all.
Was that your creation?
No, it was not. I can't mention the name because she holds a high position. But
all right.
Yeah. But no. Nonetheless, that's definitely a place that you want to check a game out. Just make sure that they're not playing Wake Forest because at least you'll be able to see some talent on one side. of the ball.
Well, the week before the Stanford Army game, Army hung tough with them. That looked like a pretty good game until
they lost by 14 as well. They lost to 25-11 was the score at the end of this one. We left at the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was just absolutely
back to the bus. Get on that bus.
One thing I will tell you, though, on the side of the stadium, they have it's a tailgate area, and they have a bar over there, which, you don't see that a lot at NCAA stadiums. Yeah, right there. Boom, right outside the stadium.
Is that allowed?
Yeah. I don't know. They're Army people, so they'll just shoot the shit out of you if you don't like it.
But that's like you think the most disciplined campus, and there's the booze.
And we just walked right on the campus, like they said, bring your IDs, bring like a social security card, do whatever you got to do.
It's just a free for all.
And we just walked right on,
lacking in security,
loving the security they got going on nowadays. Holy Toledo!
All right, well, how about looking forward? We still have our 14A suicide pool running.
That's right.
Minnesota. Knocked out about a dozen people last week.
Nice.
I didn't like that pick from the get-go. Richardson gets traded. They're going with the new quarterback. I guess
never trust Christian Ponder.
Yeah, I understand. Right, Christian Ponder. He's on his way out too. You understand. Thinking Cleveland's just going to lay down, but here comes Hoyer thrown for a couple touchdowns and 3 touchdowns, in fact.
3 picks though too. I mean, how does?
Yeah, well, they had a fake punt for a touchdown, a couple trick plays.
Fake field goal.
Fake field goal.
That's another thing too. On that fake field goal, you have Jordan Cameron just hanging out on the sideline. Like, how do you not stick a body on him? That is their go-to guy.
Yeah, but it was like a trick play. So he ran off as the field goal team ran on, but he didn't run off. He just stayed, and they never saw him. They thought he was off. They never saw him.
The whole hidden ball trick.
Yeah. The annexation of Puerto Rico.
That's very interesting, though, with Cleveland. Everyone thinks they're just dead in the water, and then, here comes Hoyer. But who thought that was going to happen?
I didn't like the pick, though. I wasn't that surprised.
No Trent Richardson.
When Josh Gordon came back. Josh Gordon had a game.
I know that Cleveland has a defense, but to see Brian Hoyer throw, 350? I mean, come on.
Well, you got to look at the other side. Just like you said, Christian Ponder and Minnesota is not a great team by any stretch, right? They're not very good.
They're 1-3 now, too.
You're
right there with the Giants.
Right. Yeah. Oh, well. No, but with Christian Ponder, you can put 8 in the box and not even worry about it. Greg Jennings hasn't done anything. Who's catching a ball in Minnesota? Jerome Simpson had that one game the first week, but that's not there every week. So Christian Ponder, they're another team in desperate need of a quarterback. No doubt about it.
Maybe Matt Castle might get the start this week.
They should. Christian Ponder's not getting it.
Over in London. And that bastard Ponder, he vultured 2 TDs away from AP.
Yeah.
Who the hell they think they are running that shotgun spread right up the middle of Ponder? Not cool, Leslie.
We'll see. Your boys are changing.
That's
talking about quarterback changes.
I don't know how this wasn't the lead story. I mean, my God.
We buried the lead. Unbelievable.
So yeah, it was all over the wire today.
Yeah, I know. Actually, the funny thing about it is, first thing, wake up in the morning, and I get my alarm in the morning, and then right after the alarm, bloop, bloop, fucking Josh Freeman, he is out as starting quarterback. And it's funny because I was watching this game on Sunday, and I sent out a Facebook status like 15 minutes after the game, and I'm like, there's no way that this guy starts another game as quarterback. There's just no way that he can play. His Rudy Poo candy ass. I don't even like wrestling, but I had to go to that. He's so lazy throwing that ball, and it was just so evident.
But is it on Freeman or is it the whole team?
I mean, this defense is playing lights out. All right, and the thing against New England, they hung tough for a while in this game. The 2 TDs that New England scored were off of missed 4th down conversions. So the 2 TDs they score, the one drive started from the New England 35, and the other drive started from the New England 38. So, all right, the defense, they let up the touchdowns, but it's not like they had a full field to work with.
And you say, is it on Freeman? Well, I mean, it's not like that offense doesn't have talent, right?
Oh
Doug Martin's one of the best running backs in football. You got Vinny Jackson and Mike Williams on the outside. So, there is talent there, too.
And one of the best offensive lines in football, right there. A lot of depth there,
Carl
too.
Nick's back.
Okay, why is Martin not just killing it this year so far?
I don't know.
Is it just that they're putting 8 up in the box and saying Freeman beat us? And
right.
No one could do it.
But Freeman has done well before. It's not like he's
no
an absolute bum, but now he is.
Is it me? But I feel like there's a lot of defenses have improved a lot this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it I'm just looking around the league.
New Orleans, the New Orleans defense.
God,
they were one of the worst last year. Now they're shutting people down.
Even like the Jets, the Dolphins. I mean, even like the Browns. You said like their Carolina's defense looked like the '85 Bears or something.
Will be.
I mean, like, I don't know if it's just the defense is catching up to the offenses in the passing league.
How about a defense that everyone thought was one of the best in football and hasn't looked good at all? The 49ers.
Yeah.
That's why you never draft defenses early in fantasy. 49ers defense looks
Bradshaw put up 100-something on him almost.
Yeah.
A touchdown. I mean,
Richardson
scored a touchdown. I mean, it was...
That Colt team, I think they're changing their offense from last year, right? They basically had Luck throw the ball downfield at will last year with Bruce Arians, and now they make that move for Richardson, Bradshaw. They're basically going to pound the ball, which I get. If it works, it works. It's fine. But I like Luck. Luck's the best downfield thrower in the league, I think.
Yeah.
I don't like what they're doing. But
I think
they win.
I think you said they got Stanford's offensive coordinator from
Stanford. Pat Pound's in the Stanford. Yeah.
I think they're trying to go more of like a power run game, and then mix in Stanford Luck with T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne. But hey,
they just straight went into Candlestick and bullied them. They were men.
It was only 13-7 going into the fourth.
Right.
So it wasn't – I don't think the score showed the whole game. And obviously I'm saying that because I took San Francisco with the Caesar. But, I mean, also the 49ers were missing Patrick Willis, which is a big loss. They didn't have Alden Smith, who knows what's going on with that guy. I mean, you're missing key pieces on your defense. So, I mean, I guess I could see some guys make mistakes, You miss a play here and there.
San Francisco just got waltzed because they were my pick of the week, and then all these things start trickling down.
Well, how about Alden Smith? Right, he's got his car sitting up against a tree at 7:00 in the morning. He's supposed to be at practice at 8.
Oh, Jesus!
They said Alden Smith got pulled over an hour after Colin Kaepernick has made his way. Colin Kaepernick was already at the stadium, and Alden Smith an hour later was in his car getting arrested. Man.
That's my boy.
That's not the first time with him either. I think he got stabbed at a club a couple years ago.
And I think it's second DUI.
And then he also got a domestic violence dispute.
Something like that.
On him too.
He got all kinds of issues.
Hopefully he straightens it out. He was one of the more dynamic pass rushers in the league. I think he's like second or third over the past 3 years.
Absolutely, him and Justin Smith, the Smith brothers. Yeah,
scary. I know why. San Francisco is putting a lot of stock into making sure that he's okay. He's only 23.
Yeah,
I mean his rap sheet and my rap sheet before we were 23 is kind of
similar. Did you ever get stabbed?
No.
Oh, well, you got that on you.
You know what, though?
When
that was after. When he crashed his car into the tree, he still had his foot on the gas pedal. Oh. And then a neighbor came out and was like, hey, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, he's just pinned up against that tree.
That was not a good look.
Snoozing and whatnot.
He's lucky he's still all right.
But, yeah, he'll be all right. But who is not snoozing? We're not snoozing. We're going to get to a break right now. When we get back, we'll get a little more deeper into this Giants stuff. And then we'll talk a little bit about some baseball as well. Got the playoff race coming down to the wire right now.
Let me ask you this.
Mets are on fire, by the way.
You know what? I want them to lose. Seriously, you know why? You want them to get a top 10 pick, so if they sign have one of the top 10 worst records, so if they sign a free agent, then they don't have to give up a first-round draft pick.
Boy, Laguerre's on the top 10 the other night.
Laguerre's could pick it, man.
Oh, yeah.
He is a defensive center. Even if it hits a little bit, he's a starting major leaguer because he could pick it in center, man.
All right. We'll get into a little bit more of that after the break. First, we're going to get to a video from Mother. This is Digital Monster. We are 14A Sports on 15 Minutes of Fame Radio. We'll be right back.
15 minutes of fame. Let's go.
Welcome back to the 14A Sports Radio Show.
Radio show.
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day.
Love it. All right.
You still got to get the 14A Sports commercial with the Hump Day in there.
We should. I mean, we are on every Hump Day.
Yeah, what day is it? 14A Sports Day.
We need a camel. We need a camel.
Maybe we get a cat. There's plenty of them floating around.
I don't want a cat. They're
disgusting.
Gross. Disgusting. Hey, by the way,
don't talk about Benson like that.
Hey, that's a dog. It's a dog bear. Did you guys see that Book of Manning last night?
No.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I caught like the better half of the end. So I saw most about Peyton and about Cooper. I didn't realize how tough that guy had it with the.
Oh my God! Yeah.
What disease? He had a disease,
spine.
right?
Yeah.
He had a blood clot on his spine.
Well, I guess he had to get surgery for he had a thinner spine than anybody else, and he said he was one hit basically away from being in a wheelchair the rest of his life, but he had to relearn how to walk. He was in a wheelchair for months. He said, I didn't realize it was that serious.
Oh wow,
that's why he couldn't play football.
How about Archie? Archie was a boss, man. He was a straight boss at Ole Miss. But the crazy thing, I didn't notice his father committed suicide right before his junior year. Archie had, the coach there at Ole Miss, he had never started a quarterback that wasn't a junior or a senior. So he starts Archie as a sophomore, has this great season, great run there, and then people are really excited about his season coming up there, and then his father just committed suicide. Wow. He had just had enough with everything, I guess.
That's crazy.
Definitely, and that made him a stronger person and everything. He grew closer to his wife now, and then they ended up having the kids. Cooper, Peyton, and then Eli. But it was very interesting stuff throughout the whole thing.
Well, I mean, even this backstory of Peyton going to Tennessee over picking Mississippi, and then Eli following up and going there, and then they really, which I was surprised, they really didn't talk about their NFL careers at all.
Yeah,
they talked about them, the high school through college, and that was kind of where they cut it. Which made it a little more interesting because you already kind of know their story. You might not know much about them when they were younger, or how they got there.
The one great what if, especially for this area, with Peyton Manning. If he leaves after his junior year, who's sitting with the number 1 pick in the draft? The Jets. The year they took Keyshawn.
They would have screwed that up somehow.
But he goes back to school, to try. He had never won an SEC. He couldn't beat Florida, so he goes back to school to try to win a national championship. Doesn't. Comes out Manning and Leaf. And then actually the next year, Peerless Price and T. Martin, win the national championship. Because that was always the knock on Manning before he won that first Super Bowl. Great quarterback, couldn't win the big game.
Yep.
Going back to his college days because he could never beat Florida in a big game. Couldn't win the SEC. And, how many times did he lose to the Patriots early on in his career?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
They changed the rules for him.
Yeah, well, you know what, though? What do you think? NFL rule changes? I think it's better. Like you're saying, you watch a game that's 3-3, who wants to watch that? You know what I mean? Let the players play.
And I think even now, I feel watching it, it's not as like where like the defensive back touches a guy and it's like, illegal contact. I feel like they give him a little more room, but it's more, they watch it more too. It's not like the receivers just run wherever they want at the same time.
Yeah, I mean they definitely protect the quarterbacks a lot more. Like you can't touch it, but the other side of it is, who wants to watch, Curtis Painter play if Eli gets hurt? You know what I mean? Like, you want the main guy to be in there, and especially that's a huge investment for the teams. You don't want your $20 million quarterback, with a broken leg.
Right.
Actually, speaking of broken legs and documentaries, Showtime had an LT documentary. Did you guys see that?
Nah,
I missed it.
Oh, you got to catch that. It's unbelievable. Documents his life. What?
I was gonna say earlier. I guess it was today. LT came out and he's like, "What the hell is Boomer Esiason doing on my thing?"
Yeah, because
called him a dickhead.
Yeah, Boomer kind of.
They said D-head.
Yeah.
Boomer is kind of critical of LT, especially when that latest charge when he got accused of rape with the 16-year-old girl. Which she was 5 days from being 17, whatever.
Oh, LT, you gotta read the birth certificate, obviously.
You know what? LT's like, I'm not sorry for it. He's like, I've been getting prostitutes my whole life. Like, he goes like this. He goes, I'm not a horse trader. I'm not gonna check her teeth and count how many teeth she has.
Lawrence.
But like it documented the whole LT, because I was a little young for that. I don't remember a lot of those LT days.
No, I mean just stories. I think you more hear than anything else. But.
Yeah, like he ran wild. But the other thing that Boomer is critical of basically said that Parcells and Belichick and that giant organization basically, enabled LT, like never put their foot down and stopped them, from doing that. And Parcells, denied that. He didn't really go into specifics, but he's like, we didn't do that. But what are you gonna do? You're not the man. Parcells is like, he's not my son. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
And especially back then, I mean, sports figures, I don't think were looked at as much as like, obviously they weren't in the limelight because of Twitter and internet and Facebook. So I think like half the stuff went unknown.
Absolutely,
as much as they could. But LT's got suspended most of the time for drug uses. I mean, the fact that he could do what he did on the field with doing all those things to his body is even more insane.
Belichick was a D corner at the time, and one time, Belichick's a real hard ass, obviously, right? And one time he flips out on LT. LT's sleeping in the meeting, and LT's like, "I know the defense. He tell me the defense. That's when I get my rest in." And Belichick flips out on him, like, "I'm putting in this pass rush, and you're sleeping." And LT goes, "That's all you need?" And he goes up and he drew the whole thing up. And, he knew what he was doing. But going back to that point with Twitter and all that stuff, I mean, look at Mickey Mantle and those guys back in that day, right? Mickey Mantle was the biggest boozer of all time. And back in the 50s, right? They had an unwritten rule. The media had it was unspoken. Like the media used to go party with these guys, and they wouldn't write stories about that. And actually, ironically, when it all changed, when that all changed, the dynamic with the media. Richard Nixon, the Watergate scandal. That's when it all changed. Yeah, that's when it changed. Because even you see the New York media kind of questioned LT a little bit, like on his face a couple different times, but which they had never done. But the Watergate thing changed media. I mean, look at JFK, right? JFK did a lot more than Bill Clinton did, but it's just a different era.
Oh yeah.
So that's why Amari didn't give me a quote at the Knicks party. Bastard. All right. It's not my fault. I'm no Nixon, bro. I'm no Tricky Dick. That ain't me.
All right, well, getting back to football. So I want to pose a question to you guys right now.
All right.
So obviously we have two football teams, New Jersey. Coming into the season, this wouldn't even be a discussion, right? No. I would laugh at you if you would ask me this. But now it's a legitimate question. Let me ask you. Who's a better team, the New York Jets or the New York Football Giants?
Let me tell you. I mean, being the non-fan of either of these teams, I mean, you can't look away from the records, New England or New York played a great game against New England. That was their one loss. All these games that they played, they've been very close.
I wouldn't say a great game. They played a close game.
Yeah, an ugly game.
Okay, whatever. Regardless, they've been in all the games. Okay, the Giants, their close game would be the Dallas one, and they were down a lot at one point in that game. They came back. Dallas sitting back in the zone, not trying to let the big plays go. But you look at those other two games, Denver, they get their hole blown out. And then against Carolina, they get their hole blown out 38 times.
Even worse.
So, you have to say the Jets. And, the Jets' defense is very good right now. Very good. Now, regardless of E.J. Manuel, putting up 20 points, that's not that much. But, you look at that game where they had all these penalties and they were still able to win that game.
20 penalties.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I guess I'll frame it like this. Being a Giants fan,
right?
I think the Jets are playing better football, but I think the Giants are the better team. I guess I would say. We'll see where how the season plays out. The Giants really haven't. Dallas, I guess, could be a good team. Denver obviously looks like they're the cream of the crop. Carolina, I don't know. They don't look that good to me, but maybe they were playing possum versus the first 2 weeks. But they played Seattle tough.
They were right. They could have beat Buffalo. Buffalo
they won the
last
touchdown.
Penalty there. The Giants just. I feel like they couldn't play any worse than they played in the first 3 weeks. And so if you're telling me that they can step it up and play a little better from there, I think that they can. I still think that they have a chance this season at the NFC East.
Right, the NFC East is that bad that maybe they do. You really can't. Dallas looks like they have a stranglehold in that division, but you can't trust Dallas, right? Anytime Dallas plays in a big game,
Romo is little to be seen of him.
Here's the thing with Dallas. Actually, this whole division, the NFC East, you look at it, the Giants are going to KC next week, which is a very tough place to play. Could very well be 0-4. Look at Washington. They're 0-3 right now. They're going across the country. You never know what those trips are like. They could be 0-4. If they win, they're going to be 1-3. Philly, they're going to Denver. Probably going to lose that game.
That's going to be tough.
And then you got Dallas, who even if they lose, will be in first place at 2-2.
Right. Well, if Dallas loses and the Giants win, then they're in tie for first. If you look at it that way, right? That's how big a shambles that division is in. Walsh, let me ask you this though. Then Nipsey kind of touched on it. At the end of the season, who's a better team, the Jets or the Giants? As a
record or talent wise?
Well, the record says what you are, right?
I'm going to have to go with the Jets. I'm going to have to because you look at the rest of the schedule for the Giants, and you know how much I love the schedule. I love the schedule. They did get Denver out of the way, but the NFC East is always a tough division. 9-7 usually wins it for you. They do have a shot in that essence, but yeah, I just think the Jets are going to be a much better team just because they have to play the AFC more than the Giants have to play the NFC.
I would say that's one of my biggest surprises of the year so far. That a lot of these AFC teams that people counted out before the season.
Absolutely,
Jets being included. You look at San Diego, you look
Miami.
at Tennessee. Miami looks like they could be a very good team.
They're going to get opened up this week.
Versus New Orleans. But
I think I'm letting a little leakage from my picks.
Please don't let any leakage.
Not on
Whatever
the show.
you do.
Can I get a little more room over here?
Not on the table. Not on the table.
But I think the AFC is a lot stronger than people predicted. And I think the NFC maybe might not be as strong. Look at some teams like the Packers and the 49ers being 1-2.
Yeah.
I think the Giants will have a better record. I think talent rises to the top, and I think that's what will happen.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, and a couple statistics I like to reference with the Giants, and here's what it boils down to. Earlier we were talking about, someone's asked, what's the problem with the Giants? And it starts up front on both sides of the ball, the offensive line, the defensive line. The Giants, they win rushing a quarterback, letting Eli throw to those receivers, let them make them big plays. Their sack differential, right? So the amount of sacks they have and the amount they've let up, they're -8 in that regard, right? The bottom of the league. Their turnover differential, -9, right? Worse than the league, them and the Steelers. On 30% of their possessions, they've turned the ball over. 30% of the times they've had the ball, they turn the ball over.
God.
You're right. They can't play any worse, right? They just can't.
Unless they're trying to get Jimmy and Clowney or whatever.
Yeah.
What during the game, Nix didn't go out with an injury, right?
No, he had one target.
You would think one target in that game.
No
That's
catches.
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
For all
and
the
then
times they tried to throw and all the times Eli got sacked.
and
that they would at least put up some garbage points.
And in the game, you look at that Carolina
against the secondary, they're picking guys up off the street.
God, they have one of the worst secondaries of all time. They have, I think, a white guy, Giordano, on the team. Absolutely terrible back there at safety. Giordano, he should be making meatballs with Georgie at the mozzarella shop. Make sure you go there.
Don't talk about Joey G like that.
So they get outgained 402 to 150 in that game on Sunday, and the first down differential 27-10 in that game in favor of the Panthers.
And actually, all those yards and first downs were all in garbage time. None of them even meant anything, really.
I mean, Giants have had these terrible games before in the middle of a season. Usually, it's more like they're going for the playoffs and they just get there was a game actually in their first Super Bowl season at home, playing a terrible Minnesota team.
Oh yeah,
Eli had about 2 or 3 picks. They
two for pick six,
for touchdowns. You know, and that's when people were calling for Eli's head and Coughlin's head. And they squeeze into the playoffs. They go on this run. I mean, this team had their ups and downs, and I think they can only go up from here.
Yeah, I'll tell you a stat that I heard on the radio, which I really couldn't believe. I really didn't. Since Rex got to the Jets, Coughlin and Rex have the same regular season record.
Really?
The same regular season. That astounded me. I couldn't believe that. I'll tell you what. That gives give Rex a lot of props for that.
Yeah.
With the quarterback situation he's dealt with in a quarterback league. You got Eli Manning, who's supposed to be elite, and I contend that he's not. I'm not a huge Eli guy. I know I've gone through that before, but props to Rex. I could completely count the Jets out this season. They're surprised me, man. They really are.
Well, the game in 11 was the make or break game. Was the Jets-Giants game?
That sets them in either direction. The Victor Cruz play, 99-yard touchdown. That was.
And that's when the Jets fell apart in Miami. That's when the Giants, beat Dallas at home to get into the playoffs. And then it was, and ever since then, it's been like the Jets are terrible. Mark Sanchez is the worst draft pick in the world, and they don't have any weapons. And then, now it comes to see. I mean, their defense is.
That defensive line, with Mo Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson now, they're going to get Copels back. They could play up front, man. They could absolutely play up front. And I always said Rex can coach a defense. He could scheme it up. So they definitely look good.
They're young too.
That defensive line, absolutely.
The future looks bright. Gino's playing very well.
People are finally picking up the Jets receivers in fantasy football.
I just picked up Stephen Hill.
The whole ship's turning around.
Speaking of fantasy football, Walsh, what's going on with our league? The 14A Sports League, commish.
I wish I would have known this was coming up, but
because no one knows what. Not even the commission knows.
But no, we went with an all points league this year.
You did.
I thought
it's crazy.
Honestly, I thought I had mentioned it, and nobody said anything. That's why I was like, okay, it's gonna fly. I thought I mentioned it, my own fault. But at the same time, you're gonna see who the true champion of this league is, and Matt alone is absolutely blowing people out.
Peyton Manning differential.
Well, he's got Peyton Manning, he's got LaShawn McCoy, and he's got Julio Jones.
I didn't know he had.
How the hell did we let him do that?
So yeah,
well, we're gonna shoot fantasy for a minute or two.
Yeah.
I mean, how many first-round running backs are a disappointment right now?
Oh,
so many.
Arian Foster, C.J. Spiller,
Trent Richardson.
Doug Martin. I think Richardson's going to be all right, but not good so far.
I can't wait.
Peterson's been pretty good. McCoy's been probably the best. Jamal Charles, those three, right?
Jamal Charles, yeah.
Peterson really hasn't been that impressive.
Well, at least compare it. Ray Rice
he had another fumble this week, Peterson.
Well, compared to the rest of them.
3 touchdowns in week 1 really helped him out. I think he's got 4 so far for the season, which is just really inflating, whatever yards he's not making.
Running backs, Reggie Bush had that huge game and then got hurt. Darren Sproles, who we both love going into the season, he hasn't done much.
Ray Rice got hurt.
Ray Rice, right? It's just been a mishmash at the running back position.
Well, let's take a look at the standings right now. Matt alone has a commanding 35-point lead over Brian Baruch. And then Mully's out there in 3rd place. We got Nipsey and Kolkak in 4th place. I'm down there in 8th, I'll make a nice little push at this whole thing. But, listen, I'm in one league right now where I'm 1 and 2, and I'm 2nd in the league in points. That's what I'm talking about. And I've had this bullshit happen to me for 3 years in a row now, where I've had all these points and I'm not even making the playoffs. It's bullshit. So that's why this is going on right now.
Well, one of my leagues.
Terrible.
Top 2 people in each division get in, and then the next lowest person goes to highest points total.
Okay.
Not by record, but so if you do get that bad luck break, then you still should get in.
It's not about who you play; it's about when you play them, right?
That's true. And then in VJ's league, I'm dominating that league.
I just knocked him off.
I saw that.
I got a couple leagues. I'm 3-0, first place in both, and then in my family league, which I'm the commish of, which all 3 years, I've come in like first, second, and second,
Dead
third.
last?
I'm in last. I'm 0-3. have the worst point total. My team is just dead in the water. It's unbelievable.
Oh boy.
But
now let's talk about the Jets for a little bit. Since we were talking about Fantasyland, here they are at 2-1. I predicted they'd be 2-2 here at the end of this. Now it was funny. The only reason that I made that prediction was because remember that line in Week 1 against the Buccaneers scared the living shit out of me. I'm like, something's gonna happen.
You thought they were gonna lose though,
right? Fine. I thought they would at least win, but I just thought that was a little bit of incentive onto it. No idea in hell did I think that they were going to beat the Patriots. They hung close with them, but I thought they would beat Buffalo. And now you got this game coming up against Tennessee, which is very interesting.
Winnable game.
Jake Cutler has looked awesome. He looked especially awesome last week. Had like 33.
Wait, Jake Locker? Or
Jake Locker. What did I say?
Jake Cutler.
My bad. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to give you all those props, Jay Cutler. But no, Locker looked amazing last week. I mean, he's running that ball. He looks like Colin Kaepernick of last year.
Well, Locker, I don't know if you remember, but Locker went to Washington. When he came out of high school, he was the highest rated quarterback in the country. He was a huge recruit, but those Washington teams were just so bad.
Yeah.
But if he would have came out his junior year, he had a really big junior year. If he would have came out his junior year, he would have been a top 5 pick because he has those attributes, those NFL attributes. But then he goes back to Washington, and they just have a terrible year. He didn't play well, and he falls to the Titans, in the middle of the first round. But Tennessee, interesting team. Talk about another fantasy running back disappointment, Chris Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
He just doesn't get in the end zone.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of Barry Sanders-esque in the sense that he needs to break those long runs.
Right.
He goes 2, 3, 5, and then busts one, and he really hasn't done that yet this year. But definitely interesting game with the Jets Tennessee game. Geno. What do you think about Geno? I like what I'm seeing out of Geno, and I can't stand the Jets, but I like what I'm seeing.
Mully and the Jets.
He's obviously making mistakes, right? He's got like 6 picks, but kind of expect that out of a rookie quarterback. But he's played well, man. I thought he's made some throws. He's made a couple throws where, all right, this kid can play.
The key thing that he can do is keep the play alive.
Yeah.
And then, he gives Santonio Holmes or Stephen Hill or somebody like that to get a little open space. And then, he's making those throws on the run and he's hitting them right there. I mean, Holmes made a couple great catches last week during that Buffalo game.
A very pleasant surprise, too. I mean, he was dead in the water this season. Like, he might not even play. Here he is week 1.
I think a lot of credit got to go to Marty Morningwig. The man can coach offense. He wasn't much of a head coach at all, but he knows the offensive side of the ball. He put it in the system. Moving Geno out of the pocket, keep that pocket moving. That offensive line has played much better. They were terrible last year.
And they're running the ball well too.
That's what. Yeah, that offensive line is getting pushed. Bilal Powell actually is one of the top running backs in football. Believe it or not. He's not a big time talent either. It's not like he's not. He's a average running back at best. But he's getting the seams and they're taking advantage of it. And I got to tell you what, I'm impressed with the Jets so far. As much as I hate to say it.
Well, let's pump the brakes on it a little bit. Just a little.
So far.
Just a little.
I mean, isn't this game set up for the Jets just to get beat?
Yeah,
it has.
Everybody on the bandwagon.
I believe Tennessee's a 3.5-point favorite in this one on Sunday. But let's just, again, my favorite, the schedule. Let's take a look at it.
Oh, it gets brutal for them.
Oh,
they have to beat Tennessee because they might lose their next 5 games.
Are we going win-loss right now?
Okay, let's do win-loss.
I hate when they do that.
Do win-loss.
It's so.
Let's do it. All right, so at Tennessee, I'm going to give them a loss.
If they don't win there, they're going to be in trouble because they got Atlanta on Monday night.
What do you got, win or loss?
Loss. I'm going to pick them to lose every game.
2-2. All right, so then they're at Atlanta Monday night.
They're gonna go 2-14.
And then you look at that after
3-13.
Yeah.
And then after Atlanta, you got home against Pittsburgh, home against New England.
Well, Pittsburgh's a winnable game.
Be bad.
It is. Now it is. It seems win now. And then New England, that could be a winnable game too since it's at home.
Play New England tough.
Since it's at home.
They
played them tough. I mean, New England. I
think New England's just going to kind of keep on.
As long as nobody butt fumbles, they got a good chance.
Well, Gronk will be back, right? He's supposed to come back this week.
Amendola, true.
Yeah.
No, he's not that far away. He should be ready to go in a couple weeks. He better be ready to go, or I'm gonna flip out.
But Tompkins is coming on, right? He had a couple touchdowns last week. So, you expect Brady's going to be able to, work with those receivers and be able to move the ball. Their defense has played well. They played 2 rookie quarterbacks, in Geno and E.J. Manuel, so you got to see what they're really made of. But, the Jets schedule gets a lot tougher. But
and then not to mention at Cincinnati and then home against New Orleans, and then you got the bye week. So It's very possible that they could go 2-7. It's very possible that they could be 2-7.
So when you look at it, right? Maybe Tennessee, Pittsburgh. You say they got a shot. The other one's not really.
All right.
Yeah.
Even Atlanta. Listen, they're a huge disappointment right now, and I called that. Beginning of the season. I don't even have them going to the playoffs.
I think Roddy White banged up for them has been hurting them a little.
Absolutely.
Well, a lot, actually.
And, Steven Jackson is showing his age, right? Here's another first.
They're basically rolling out there with 2 rookie cornerbacks, too. That's not going to help you. I mean, New England, that's the matchup this Sunday night on NBC. But essentially they're going to go against 2. Well, they are going against 2 rookie wide receivers, too. But, I mean, I like Brady over Matt Ryan any day of the week,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
And that division, New Orleans looks like they're going to run away with that division, right? They look like the best team, especially with their defense playing like they are.
Watch out for the Mike Glennon era. Watch out coming out of the back.
I don't think anybody's scared
of that rear view mirror.
NFC South.
How good is Jimmy Graham, man? How good is Jimmy Graham?
Boss, like a boss.
Unbelievable. He's played lights out.
All right. Well, I know we promised the audience some baseball talk. We will definitely get to that after the next break. We'll break down the playoff matchups and everything. Let's get to a video real quick. Leah Robinson. This one's called Higher. We are 14A Sports on 15 Minutes Fame Radio.
Peace.
15 minutes of fame. Let's go.
That was just a moment of silence for the Yankee season. So
because that's over.
See ya.
Have any pomp and circumstance?
Play taps. Yeah.
Pop out.
Done deal, man.
Get the bagpipers in here.
Yeah, I know. All right, so I know one of the things that we did at the beginning of the season, we did a over/under pick. We picked 2 teams. I don't know why we didn't do 3. We could have had a little tiebreaker with ourselves, but I did 1-1. I split.
You split?
Yeah.
Who'd you have?
I had the Toronto Blue Jays at under.
Under what?
They are. Let's check it out right now. Right now, they're currently 72-85, and their over/under this year was over 87.5. So I nailed that.
Lock up.
Easy money.
And then I had the Philadelphia Phillies at 83.5, and they are at 72-85. So
that's it.
I split.
1-1. I think I might do a little bit better right now. The Yankees number was 88.5, which I said from the beginning was awfully high.
Yep.
They came to spring training. They didn't have a first baseman. Jeter was questionable. A-Rod was still on the shelf. I didn't like their pitching at all. I didn't like their starters. And I got to be honest, Girardi did a great job this year with the
Definitely.
He really did. He held that together with glue and shoestring or whatever. And no, he really did. He did a tremendous job. Yeah,
HGH.
And but they're sitting right now at 82 wins. They've tailed off recently, obviously out of the playoffs. But their number was 88.5, so that's a win. And then I took the Metsies. Their number was 74.5, and right now they're sitting at 73. So
they know they're fighting for you.
Well, you know what?
When Dice K threw a gem.
You know what got you that they swept the Phillies over the weekend? Nobody gives a shit because it's fucking September baseball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we didn't lose Harvey, you can't really say that, but
yeah.
Harvey's done.
I mean, they were.
What do you guys think about shortening the baseball season?
It'll never happen. Should they? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will it ever happen? No, because the more games, the more revenue.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Also, the more games you have on TV, the more revenue.
Yeah.
Nobody ever shortens seasons now. It's not gonna, they should shorten the NBA season. The NBA season during a lockout was great when they opened it on Christmas. That was so much better than when they started in October.
Cool. Every night you had an awesome game going.
Speaking of games on TV, did you guys see this on Sunday? The Astros played the Indians. Their rating on the game was 0.0.
What, like
40, that's awesome.
Like 4,000 people watch or something.
That's
right?
awesome.
Didn't a WNBA game in that area get more? I'm serious. Get more viewers, I think. On that
but in all fairness, you're in Texas and you got football going on, so whatever. But still,
and the Astros, they are throwing out.
Good Lord.
I'll tell you what, though, the Astros, at least when they're tanking, they're doing it right because they acquired a bunch of prospects. They're going to be good in a couple of years.
Yeah.
They're doing like the whole Tampa Bay formula of just Moneyball style and just keep on drafting players and hopefully you throw them together.
That ballpark is an absolute joke. You know,
in Tampa?
No, both. Yeah, Tampa and Houston. Tampa's actually supposed to be getting a new stadium soon, but it doesn't look like that's.
I don't think
happen.
that. I don't think that.
And
In Florida,
10,000 people in.
And after they built that one down in Miami, taxpayer funded in Florida, and Laurier went and traded every one of his players, which actually looks smarter now in retrospect. But that's not good. The era of taxpayer funded stadiums should be and hopefully is over. It really should be.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, let's face it. With baseball games, you get those big games. Opening day, you got the sellout, and then game 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down the line, you don't get sellouts. And look at New York. Both teams. You just see the huge drop off, but nobody wants to pay these prices to go to these games.
I'll tell you, at least with the Mets, if the Mets win, they're going to sell the park out. I think the Yankees now with the new Yankee Stadium, I think price is a huge issue. I really do. You don't feel as connected to the games. But with the Mets, and will they ever draw those kind of numbers that they initially did? I don't know. Yet to be seen. But the Mets, when you win, if you don't win, you're not going to fill the park. I don't care where you are. I don't care how nice your park is. So the Mets have to start winning, and they'll see the numbers jump. But yeah, no, price is definitely a major issue. The other thing now, I think the NFL's feeling the same thing to a degree, although obviously it's not even close to as many games, but it's more comfortable to sit at home and watch it on TV. Throw the Red Zone on. Go to a bar. You got every game.
That's true.
Especially with fantasy. Now these stadiums, they're recognized. They're trying to adapt. I think Jacksonville's putting TVs in so they you can follow every other game while you're at that game.
The Jaguars sure as hell ain't bringing them in.
Right. No, absolutely. But so I think.
That was a story. You guys ever talk about that where they apologized for showing the game because they couldn't see the Manning Bowl?
Oh yeah, they showed the Jacksonville game and they didn't show Eli versus Peyton, and they sent out an apology.
Like a bottom line, apologizing to their station viewers.
Who the hell wants to watch that?
I think all sports teams are going to face this, and they're going to have to figure out something with like dynamic ticket pricing or something like that because, like you said, it is a lot better to watch it at home. I mean, and going to a game isn't as crazy as it used to be before because it's not like, oh, did you see that happen? You could see it in 3 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You could turn on SportsCenter. You could look on Twitter. You could get on YouTube.
Right from your phone. Right from the phone.
I mean, you immediately know what's going on, so it's...
I know with the Jets and Giants, you're a Giants season ticket holder, but I've heard a lot of people, when they built a new stadium with the PSLs. I know, that turned a ton of people off, shelling out that kind of cash. And the Jets are realizing it. You always hear ads for Jets tickets, and they started doing like a college thing where they Jets home games, they bring them in on buses, and then they do like a walk through the stadium. So they're trying to be more interactive. They're trying to adjust to that. But I think it's just, me personally, like, I like going down to the Rutgers games, the college atmosphere, and like you said, the tickets are so much cheaper. It's so much cheaper,
Speaking of baseball with their bad attendance, did you see that also the Tampa Bay Rays, since their attendance is so bad this year, it's going to affect their payroll for next season?
Yeah, well,
they're not going to have enough money to cover the player contracts.
Well, David Price is going to have to get traded, right? That's what they do. They trade the guy, like they traded Shields, right, for Will Myers.
He turns around and then.
I thought that was an absolutely great trade, regardless of
for both teams. It seems
my God, perfect.
Because Casey was making a push there for a little bit, and James Shields was like, their top pitcher.
Yeah, and they got Wade Miller too, but Will Myers is going to be a stud.
Yeah,
that was but that's what I mean. That's the nature of their organization. Although with baseball now, with the TV money, like Houston's going to pocket like $30 or $40 million.
Oh yeah,
with their payroll and walk away with $30 or $40 million profit.
I mean, what Miami did too, like just I mentioned before, with the whole fire sale that they had just to get the new stadium and all that revenue in there, and then they.
That's like the third time they did
that.
That's
such a shitbag stadium too, though. You see that thing that they got in left center field? What is that? It's like a It's like a gay volcano. What is that? What is that?
They're waiting for the Dodgers to come there and come pee in their pool.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Don't tell Arizona that.
Yeah, Willie Bloomquist or something. Who's Willie Bloomquist? He had a problem
get out of here.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Ain't nobody got time for you, Bloomquist.
Speaking of the Dodgers, you want to talk a little more baseball? I think in the NL, the Dodgers is definitely the team to beat. Mm-hmm. With that rotation, they got guys that can hit the the quality pitching you're going to see in the playoffs. I definitely like the Dodgers coming out of the NL. Although the Cardinals are always there.
It's like every year.
The Cardinals,
every year it feels like they're in it.
And how smart do they look? Although they offered him a huge deal, but not to. Remember when his wife was complaining that they were insulted by like $180 million offer?
Oh, didn't they say like they were like They did it because of God or the religion or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the religion is money, then okay. But I'll tell you what, the Yankees are going to face an interesting. Joel Sherman had a great article in the Post today, basically breaking down the numbers if the Yankees want to get under 189, because the number is really not 189 because you have to shell out like $11 million for insurance and things of that nature. You got to take in, if you trade for anybody or call up anybody to the majors, that's another number. So really, their number's at like 173. And if A-Rod doesn't get suspended, which he probably will, and that $26 million stays on the books, I have no idea how they're going to field a competitive team and get under that number.
I don't get is why does that come off the books?
He's not playing.
Yeah, but he's on their roster.
But they're not paying him.
They're not paying him. They should keep it as a salary cap buffer. I mean, because now they're going to get a benefit for him getting suspended.
Yeah, well, them the rules, my friend.
But
either way, even if he does get suspended, they're going to have a tough time. What are they going to give it to Robbie Cano?
They're not going to be able to re-sign him. They were talking about that. Actually, this is like going on a month ago. They're not going to be able to sign Robinson Cano what he wants. Hello, L.A. Dodgers, Robinson Cano. That's exactly where he's going.
Question. If you, in the wake of the Pujols contract, Josh Hamilton not as bad, only 5 years.
He's going to finally wake up and be like, "This is not a smart move to do."
Would you give Cano 10 years?
No,
you can't. You cannot. You can't. You can't.
Well, I think we're seeing in baseball, it's so much more of a team game. You're one guy who hits 350 is not going to change the course of your team. You need pitching. You need multiple pitchers. You need a good bullpen.
I mean, look at the
you
Red
need
Sox
a great
this year.
closer.
Great example.
Yeah.
They got rid of Gonzalez and
Beckett.
Crawford and Beckett.
They made out
they
like
got rid
bandits
of
in
like
that
$100
deal
million
too.
of contracts, and
but to their
now
credit,
they're taking the AL East.
They reinvested to the team and spread it across a bunch of different guys. They signed Victorino, Napoli, and Johnny Gomes.
Victorino!
John Lackey had a resurgent year. But I'll tell you what, that's what I'm looking for the Mets to do. Instead of going out and trying to sign, a $20 million player, I don't even know if that exists on the market outside of Cano. Sign, 4, 5, 8 to $12 million players. So you have some depth. Because like you said, Walsh, on any given game, one guy isn't going to carry the whole season. Outside of maybe Miguel Cabrera. Look at Mike Trout, maybe the second best player in baseball. Maybe the best all-around player in baseball. Where are the Angels? So
the Angels have three
right.
of the best players in baseball, and they still can't get it done.
Well, on paper, but Josh Hamilton and Albert Pujols are no longer the best players in baseball.
Right, but any given day,
I picked Josh Hamilton in the second round of my fantasy baseball draft. That
wanted to shoot yourself, didn't you?
I want him to go back on the H, man. Shoot that shit.
Get it, boy.
Yeah, that didn't work.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these potential matchups that we'll see here in the playoffs. Boston, in the AL, a lot of these guys have already won their divisions. Boston,
those
Detroit,
wild cards are still
Oakland.
up.
Yeah. You got same divisions we still have available there. It's interesting though because who would have thought Oakland is now in contention to almost have the best record not only in the American League but in all of baseball as well?
I mean, just what we were talking about, man. You bring up young pitchers, you get enough young pitchers, you get enough good players. You don't need stars. You need good players.
Yeah, I can probably name one guy in the Athletics.
Yes, Cespedes, right?
Yeah. That's about it.
And
I can't even pronounce that right.
God damn it! Why isn't Cliff Pennington still on that team?
Who?
Cliff Pennington used to be the shortstop.
All right.
This is 1960s.
Back from when I used to play the show, he was one of my guys.
But
the show.
But so who's the favorite? Who do you like out of the AL?
I would think Detroit. You look at their roster. The pitching right there is what stands out. You got Verlander, Scherzer going there, Anibal Sanchez,
and Doug Fister.
Doug Fister.
Barely even knew her.
And then you got, but the thing,
filling in for Richie.
But the thing I like about them is that you got Cabrera and then Fielder. You got that righty lefty dynamic.
Well, Cabrera,
where you really can't capitalize on that out of a bullpen coming in.
Well, two things on Detroit. Right now, Cabrera's a little banged up. He has, pulled oblique.
Rest him, he'll be fine.
I don't think he has any obliques. Look at him.
Playoffs start on Tuesday. There's not a lot of time to rest people.
And Prince Fielder hasn't had the kind of season that he's accustomed. He hasn't had a big season. But, you also got Torrey Hunter in that mix. Austin Jackson, former Yankee farmhand.
Yep.
And look at that trade going back. Where the Yankees got Granderson, Ian Kennedy, Austin Jackson. Detroit. If you look, Detroit has made a ton of great trades.
Absolutely.
Anibal Sanchez, Miguel Cabrera, they absolutely fleeced Florida. Cameron Maybin, where are you?
Did they just get a guy from Boston too, or
Oh yeah,
the shortstop, Jose Iglesias.
Yes.
Yeah, they actually gave up a pretty good hidden outfield prospect that went to the White Sox. Who had a nice end of the season, but they got Johnny Peralta suspended for the 50, and they had to fill that hole, and Dave Dombrowski, GM of the year, goes out and fills that hole with Jose Iglesias, who is a glove first, but a magnificent glove at short. But on to Detroit, that bullpen is a mess.
Yeah,
that bullpen is and it's been a mess the whole year. Benoit kind of settled down in the closer's role a little bit, but you got guys like Albuquerque or whoever else coming out of bullpen. The one thing that can mitigate that, you got those starters. They're going to have to go deep into those games. They absolutely have to, because they get into that bullpen in Detroit, and that's a lot of trouble there. A lot of trouble.
I think like the Red Sox. I mean, like you just mentioned, like a bunch of the guys. It just seems like they got the whole beard thing going on. Like they just don't quit on anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple of those Yankees games where the Yankees came back from 7 runs down to tie it up, and they had to get the run off Rivera, and then what's their guy? What's their closer? Ijuhara?
Yeah, Ijuhara. Yeah.
Apparently that guy's just been lights out. Like he went 37 plus without giving up a hit, and then you get into the 9th inning with that guy. I mean, you can rely on him. You don't have to worry about. I mean, for the most part, it's like you close the door almost.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, I like the wild card thing in baseball. I like what they did. Yeah, I love that they make that interesting.
You know what I was pissed off about? So on ESPN radio they always do that 1 minute take, throughout commercials and stuff like that. So you look at Stan Verrett, he says something on there. He's like, "Oh man, you could have a great finish right now. Like it could be Pittsburgh and Cincinnati battling out for the one spot there." It doesn't satisfy that argument, because you look at the AL, now you got 3 teams going after 2, and that's so much more exciting. So you got Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Texas, who are all playing almost pushovers. It's like Tampa Bay has Toronto, Cleveland has Minnesota, which, by the way, how about Jason Giambi last night?
Oh, yeah.
Holy Toledo. I had no idea he was even in baseball.
I didn't know he was still alive.
Oh, my God. That was that was so awesome.
You know what's crazy about Giambi? He almost got the Colorado Rockies manager job last year.
Really?
What? Yeah, I swear. He came in second. Walt Weiss got the job, but they said Giambi was right there. Terry Francona, I heard him interviewed during the course of the year and said Giambi's the next big manager in baseball. Like
really?
He's been awesome in the clubhouse. He said he's like a second manager to him. Talk about, that's like a Ben Affleck career resurgence. You know what I mean? No, like it really happened.
Affleck was the bomb in Phantom, Joe.
This is my Argo.
I watched that the other night for the second time. That was a great movie.
Argo, yeah, it's a very good movie.
Catch it. It's on HBO.
I'll tell you what, you know the outcome, but yet it's still filled with suspense. Good movie.
Here's something interesting going back to the wild card. So you've got...
You don't want to talk about Argo?
Oh, I love Argo. Fuck yourself.
I haven't seen it
Argo,
yet.
Fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it for me.
So you got Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Texas. There is a very good possibility that they could all 3 be tied up. What happens?
I think you get a double 1-game playoff.
What happens? That's going to throw the whole playoffs off. Nobody's even thought about this. It's very possible.
There's got to be like you go down in tiebreakers and bang, 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 bang.
You look at that
Eventually
final weekend.
They can't do tiebreakers. You have to play a game.
No, you got to play. But let's take a look at that final weekend. Tampa Bay's at Toronto. All right.
What's their records right now?
Let's see here.
So we got Texas has 86 and 71. All right. You got Cleveland 87 and 70. And you got Tampa at 88. So 2 games separate all 3 teams.
Right. And then, like we're saying, Tampa Bay's at Toronto. Texas is home against the Angels, and then Cleveland's at Minnesota. All of those series are potential sweeps, but if one team gets swept up, or just gets wrapped up during one of those games, this could potentially be amazing.
That would be unbelievable.
I would love it. That would get me back into baseball.
Yeah.
They should have to do it where it's like a double header.
Everybody goes to one neutral park.
Yes.
And then they all just have like a double elimination tournament.
In one day.
Yeah. That would be
like
sick.
Old school, like high school.
That's unbelievable. You know what?
I'm tweeting Seelig right after this show.
I'm sure that they have something in place that they could do.
They started the games at like 9 a.m. on a Saturday.
Well, I remember back in the day, I think it was 99, last day of season, or for the play-in game, the Mets played the Reds, if you remember that game. Al Leiter went and threw a gem against the Reds to get the Mets into the 99 playoffs. And that wound up being the Grand Slam single where Rob Ventura gets the Braves in game 5 or 6.
He still didn't touch
5.
the base.
Yeah, he only needed to touch first. But the wild card games, I mean, if you're into baseball at all, you're going to watch those single elimination games, right? What's better in sports than a game 7? And those are essentially Game 7s, you know. But I think the other thing is too, it gives the teams that win a division a distinct advantage. Whereas the wild card teams previously, it didn't matter if they won it. I mean, you remember those Red Sox Yankees? One of them clearly was going to get the wild card. One of them was going to win division, and they stopped playing at the end of the year because it didn't matter which one they got. So this obviously gives a huge advantage to the teams that, you know,
and a lot of those wild card teams wound up going on to win the World Series because they had like, you know, I guess they were just, you know, they're catching fire at the right time,
and there was no penalty for being a wild card team.
There's
Absolutely.
no disadvantage to it.
You had, you know, you didn't have home field advantage that first round, but
that
doesn't
really matter in baseball.
No, it's all about your next day's pitcher.
Doesn't really matter anywhere except for in Seattle for football.
Seattle, maybe New Orleans. That's about it. Basketball. You think it matters in basketball? Maybe. College basketball, it does.
See, they need to do that in the NBA. They need to have that playoff game, you know, because sometimes you have teams and then they win based on head-to-head.
They got to figure out how to figure out with the tanking of like teams like just basically giving up at the end of the year trying to get a better playoff.
Yep.
I mean, that's what the 76ers. They're already tanking.
They're already in tank mode, you know. And you got to figure out somehow to do that. Like where I've heard like a theory thrown out there where it's like basically once you're eliminated from the playoffs, the more wins you get, you gain points. And the most points you have after you're eliminated gets you the first round pick. Or
right.
The first
gets
pick,
you more balls in
more
the thing.
balls or whatever. Somehow, like to keep you competitive, keep you playing, but at the same time award a team that's not, you know, whatever. You know, you can't have the best team in the NBA getting the first draft pick every year either.
All right, so I did a little bit of research here on what would happen if the teams all did this. All right, so here we go.
Is it like 3 pages long?
It's ridiculous.
Why don't we just give you a 20-minute? You'll read this verbatim.
This could be like the Coles News Network. Just read a boring ass story.
Pop out.
Oh, I'm sorry, Coles.
Coles will not be with us.
Coles' ears are burning right now at some slot machine down in AC.
All right, so here we go. We've got
telling a penis story to somebody.
So an Aussie man bit a penis this weekend. All right, so what do we got here? We've got 3-team tie for 1 wild card spot. All right, so what we're gonna have here is you're gonna have a designation, and here's the whole thing. You're gonna have this is gonna. Well, I didn't do the research, so of course it does.
If anyone was watching, they no longer are.
All right, so here we go. Now this will determine the home field against the 3. All right, or the other 2. So you've got head-to-head winning percentage against each other during the 2013 season, and then a higher winning percentage in intra-division games. So that your own division, and then the next tiebreaker would be higher winning percentage in intra-league games.
But that's just for home field advantage.
Yes, that's for home field advantage.
Still play.
Now to go down to what would happen.
So the team with the highest winning percentage gets the bye.
Correct.
And then those 2 other teams play
with the highest winning percentage against each other.
So one team is going to have to play 2 elimination games.
Yes, that's awesome. Sick. Okay, so now to find it. All right, for 1 wild card spot
with baseball, that's crazy. Because, you know, just how to use your bullpen. You got to go out. You got to win the game and figure out the next tomorrow.
All right, so what would happen is after clubs have been
on to the next.
After clubs have been assigned
how many more tokens do you got? I have like 3. Good. We have time for one more detached penis story.
All right. So after clubs have been assigned their A, B, C designations, Club A would host Club B on Monday. So these would be the 2 lesser of the teams tentatively. The winner of that game would then host Club C on Tuesday, October 1st.
So they just play 1 extra game on Monday. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Instead of having an off day Monday, they play a game on Monday.
But it's good to know what the tiebreakers are to get into that. So.
And again, another advantage to the division winners because they got to throw up basically their
Absolutely.
Yeah. You get to line up your pitching
staff.
Got to be in it to win it.
And then so you're hitting, you're facing their 3rd pitcher, hopefully.
Yep.
So.
All right, so we didn't even talk about the NL. The wild cards are definitely going to the Pirates and the Reds. That's just going to happen. Now these 2 teams have to battle. Yeah, they have to battle out to see who's going to get that home field in that wild card. Pittsburgh's up by a game right now.
The Pirates getting back.
I want to see if the Pirates make some noise. Awesome. I thought just seeing them celebrate on the field at Wrigley and how they did it. They threw a guy out at home at Wrigley, and that's how they won their game to solidify a playoff spot. I thought that was awesome.
I'll tell you what, that Pittsburgh 5-year rebuilding plan, it only took like 21 years. I mean, that was pretty good.
Bonds just ruined how many cities? Come on.
Yeah. They have been good since he left for San Fran. That was it.
One of my first sports memories, though, is that
Atlanta
play at the plate.
Pittsburgh
play
definitely.
with Sid Bream coming home.
For what? Francisco Cordoba, maybe I think is the guy that put the ball through the hole.
Francisco Cabrera.
I don't think it's Cabrera.
I have to go on sportsreference.com.
But Barry Bonds, the one that made that throw from left field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And how about we were talking about Tampa earlier. They almost moved the Giants to Tampa, where the Rays are now. At Tropicana Field, yeah, long time ago.
That would be a robbery.
Like around the strike era, like around there.
When like Colorado and Miami came in.
Oh yeah, terrible. That would have been.
San Fran's one of the best ballparks.
Yeah, and they have the most awesome fan base in all of baseball.
They travel too. They played the Mets recently, and they have a lot of San Fran fans in Citi Field. I guess that's also partly too, though, like a lot of old time fans from the New York Giants maybe stuck with them moving out there. But
I mean, again, Seattle got robbed in that situation for Sports Town. I mean, look how dedicated they are to the Seahawks, and then even apparently Seattle's like soccer
MLS
mecca.
Team, yeah.
It's like really? You go to games there, and it's like insanity.
Portland too, in Oregon, they have a tremendous following on their MLS team. Like they apparently, I'll look it up during the break, but they have one of the best pregame intros in all of sports. I hear.
Oh yeah,
I have never seen it.
Who cares? It's soccer. But
hey, we're in the World Cup.
The World Cup's coming around the corner.
Yeah. Seattle, for them not to have a basketball team's absurd.
Well, they're going to get the NHL team soon. So.
The NHL needs to expand.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Well, you got to take one of these. You got to take one of these teams. Well,
they're moving a team there.
Yeah. Tampa Bay has a very good fan base, which is kind of surprising.
Won't expand anymore either.
Yeah,
that's a less piece of the pie.
Absolutely.
But did you see this last week? The Florida Panthers had an exhibition game at like 2:30 in the afternoon on a Monday, and like 24 people were there. That's awesome. Gotta love it. So, are we all in consensus that LA Dodgers are going to win the NL?
Well, I wouldn't count out the Cardinals.
The Cardinals are always there. How about Atlanta? Atlanta. They're not. When's the last time they had a big playoff series? Since Smoltz was around.
They're always there.
They're always there, but
the Mets and the Phillies have. Well, they were. Was it Atlanta last year or 2 years ago? Where they
the
had
infield fly rule. That was last year.
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
And they were playing the Cardinals, right?
Garbage on the field. Yeah.
Cardinals never say die. I'm telling you.
But I don't like that Atlanta team going into the playoffs. They have too many free swingers. Hayward back is huge for them, but I don't think I could see them getting knocked off in that first divisional round. I don't like Atlanta. St. Louis. Who plays the Dodgers? Who does Atlanta play? Let me ask you that.
Well, here's the deal. We've got
So,
all right, St. Louis right now holds a 1-game lead over Atlanta.
But can they play? It doesn't matter if it's in the division,
right?
But it might not matter.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
So it's either going to be the Dodgers or they're the third worst team out of the divisions. The Dodgers are They have the third worst record. So
the Dodgers play the Cardinals.
No, the Cardinals are 1 right now, so it could be Atlanta Dodgers. It could still switch too.
Up in there.
Yeah.
No, but then they would play the wild card. No.
I guess the wild card's always got before.
No, the wild card plays the 1 unless they're in the same division.
Are you sure that division still holds? That might not be true anymore.
I don't know. We got to go back.
Yeah, we don't know.
Do some research during the break.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You know what? The guy that just called during the break, I just hit the send button, so maybe we'll see.
All right, call back.
Come on.
All right. Well, why don't we take a break while we're waiting for him?
He's gonna call again. That's the thing. He's gonna call again during the break. I don't know.
Whatever.
All right. What? Who gives a shit?
See, we're falling apart without Coles. Coles, you're the glue.
She is. At least we know we have that. All right. When we get back, let's get into our picks. We have Richie's picks as well. This fucking fly's been buzzing around too. We'll get into the picks when we get back, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. All right.
Woo! We are 14A Sports on 15 Minutes of Fame Radio. But before we get out for the minute, let's take a quick word from our sponsor, A Plus Printing.
A Plus Graphic Screen Printing is a full-service provider for all of your screen printing needs. Located in Bayonne, we provide quality, personalized service throughout Union County and Jersey City, as well as the greater New York area. A Plus Graphic Screen Printing can handle your t-shirt printing for unions, private parties, family reunions, election events, corporate events, golf outings, and so much more. We are also able to print on caps, tote bags, sweaters, towels, and more. So no matter what you need printed, we have the solution. Call today to get started. A Plus Graphic Screen Printing.